I'm going to do my Q&A. What keeps you inspired or grounded? Startup culture toxicity, how to handle it. How many internships should you do in law school? Is 3 enough? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to do my Q&A, which I asked you guys on Instagram and YouTube what questions you wanted me to ask. It's been about a year since I filmed this and a lot of things have changed. I'm no longer in New York, I'm here in the Bay Area, I have a different job. And I've been doing YouTube for a little bit longer than I was a year ago, so I thought that I would do another Q&A to see if you guys have additional questions or just things that you want me to answer. So let's just get right into the questions. So I tried to break these questions up into certain categories. The first category is more about my move and if I miss New York. The next category is more about inspiration, how to stay motivated, and then it kind of goes into the law school questions. So the first question was, what do you miss the most about New York City? And I get asked this a lot, not only from you guys, but from my friends and family. And honestly, it's the convenience because you have the subway, which at the time may seem annoying, but the fact that you don't have to worry about traffic, parking, you can always get to the same destination pretty much around the same time, unless there's of course train traffic or some sort of accident, but that's pretty rare, at least on the lines that I took. So for the most part, you get to where you need to go and you don't have to worry about traffic. Like here, it takes me a really long time to get to work even though I live pretty close, which is annoying. Or if someone asks you to meet up after work, you have to sort of calculate how far and how long it's going to take me to get there and is it even worth it. Also, the New York food, the people we met, our church group, and also just the exciting things that happen every weekend. I'm sure there's stuff that happens here too, and the problem with the Bay Area and most suburban areas is that it's very widespread, and so there's a lot of things to do, but it might be far or not all concentrated, whereas in New York, I feel like I saw so many different pop-ups come up in the past few months that I really would have gone to, but of course we don't have those types of things here in the city, so that's what I really miss about New York. The next question's related, and it's, how is the Bay Area treating you? It's good. Like I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm from the Bay, but I'm not from Silicon Valley, so I didn't live in this area. So it's really interesting trying to understand, what is near here, what's the norm, just commuting to and from work, and what people do here for fun, trying different food places. It's only been like maybe a little over a month since we've been in Silicon Valley, so there's still a lot to discover, but it's exciting. And I think like any new place, there's just some sort of ramp up where there is some getting used to the day-to-day, just your routine, and getting to know a new church group, making new friends, and reconnecting with old friends. So it's a lot, but it's been good so far. I think the transition's a lot easier when you have existing friends and family versus in New York, where we really didn't have anyone. And so it helps to have that support system for meeting up or helping you move and things like that. The next question is related to my job. So as you know, I do have a new job, and it's, how is your new job? It's also good. I think I mentioned this in a previous vlog that when you have a new job, the hardest thing is getting used to the new people, the new culture. For me, a new industry. I mean, there is so much I need to learn. My boss said I should take 2 hours a day learning about this new industry, and it's complicated. I mean, I read through a whole book and I still feel like I don't understand all of it. So I think it's a lot of new learning and understanding the norms. I mean, at my previous company, there's a lot of different things that people did. I had a certain rapport with my boss, and now it's a little different. I also have one extra person on the team, whereas previously I didn't. And you're working with a new sales team, you're working with new contracts, you're working with new processes. It's a lot of learning and getting used to different things. Also, and I'll talk about this when I do my Bay Area versus New York video, the culture just seems different. People leave at 5 for the most part. Here we have a very work from home culture, whereas I didn't before. People tend to be a little older. Whereas in New York, I guess people are just younger because that's sort of the demographic that lives there. But overall, it's good. I like the company a lot, so it's just a lot of learning, and it's hard to feel comfortable if you aren't fully ramped up and you're sort of onboarded, but you don't feel comfortable taking ownership of things or just doing the day-to-day. So this question is a little deeper. It's, if you were to die soon, what is one regret that you would have? And honestly, I tried thinking really hard about what my regret would be, and I couldn't really think of anything. I think that's a good testament to the fact that I'm really happy with my life. I feel like I've done all the things I wanted to do. Hui, my husband, forced us to move to New York City, which was great for my independence and just broadening my horizons. I never would have gone otherwise, and now I have no regrets about living on a totally different coast in a totally different city. That was exciting. I got married, I live in a great neighborhood, and I feel like God has really blessed me in so many ways. So I really don't have very many regrets. I get to do YouTube, I get to make videos, and help you guys. And I think if anything, I guess I didn't have children, so I think that would be one thing I would miss out on because I've never got to raise kids or have kids. So the next question is, name your top 5 boba places. This is really hard to think about because I feel like I've been out of the California boba scene for so long. I mean, 3 years isn't that long, but so many boba places pop up and close down. And I will say that it really depends on your preferences. So personally, I really like boba that is chewy, almost leaning towards the hard side. I'd rather it be hard than too soft. It needs to be sweet, and the tea flavor needs to be good. I used to be all about the fruity drinks, but now I'm really about more roasted drinks, roasted oolongs, tea guanyin. So for me, boba guys obviously is up there. I really like Half and Half, which is in the LA area. I feel like it's always good. It's pretty standard. It's been around for so long. I feel like they really did invent honey boba. I love Bar Pod Tea in New York because even though I don't really get their boba drinks, I get their soft serve with the boba, which I still haven't really found here. I also like Tiazi, which is in New York, because they have a really good dark roasted oolong flavor. And here in the Bay Area, I like TPT. A lot of people may have mixed reviews about it, but they have really good tea guanyin tea, which is hard to find, or hard to find good tea guanyin tea. And they are from Chunchuitang, which is in Taiwan. So, and another random one is Zhenjundan, and that's the one I had in Hong Kong, which I thought was also really good. Okay, so this next question is, as a Christian, do you think a Christian should date a non-believer? This is a pretty intense question. I don't know that I can answer in a Q&A video, but I'll try my best to give a short and sweet answer. And maybe I'll do a more fulsome video about this. But actually, Hui was not a Christian when I first met him, which may be surprising to you. I've been a Christian all my life. I grew up in the church. And I know everyone always hears you should not date a non-Christian. And if I had to answer that question, I would answer no. It really depends on your situation and the person that you want to date and who you are and how strong you are spiritually. If you're really strong in your relationship with God and your spirit, and you are really committed to a church group, you have a support group, and the person that you are dating or want to date is open to Christianity, then there might be a chance for you. But even then, you can do all you can to pray and help that person, but in the end, they have to make the decision. So it's difficult. One thing I will say about Hui and why I knew that it might be okay is that he agreed to go to church with me every Sunday, which is a start. There's so many people I see who start dating non-Christians, they don't even go to church themselves regularly, or their significant other doesn't go to church every Sunday. And if they can't even commit to that, then honestly, it's a little hard to see that they could potentially become a Christian and accept Jesus into their heart. So I think it really depends on your situation. But overall, I would say no. So the next question is, what keeps you inspired or grounded? So obviously God is a huge impact in my life. Without him, I wouldn't be able to do anything. He blesses me with all this, the ability to make videos, to go to work, to have a career, to get past the bar exam. I mean, I talk about it all the time, but he is literally the one that got me through law school, and there's no way I passed on my own merit. So God, for one, he reminds me that it's not all about your career. It's not all about your status in life. Like, those things just don't matter. And I think when you remember those things, you don't get caught up in what job do I have, what's my title, what salary do I make, am I gonna have a successful career? As long as you're glorifying God and you're happy, then that's all that matters. And I think subscribers like you guys really inspire me to continue to make videos. When people comment that, you know, this video was helpful, or thank you so much for posting this, or you helped me to really reconsider the legal career, or to help you understand what it means to be a lawyer, then that really inspires me to make more videos, because I love helping people and inspiring people. The next question is, what do you do when feeling down or unmotivated? Honestly, I'm not sure that I feel down or unmotivated that often. I think it's just my personality. If I commit to something, I'll do it, and if I have something to do, I'll just do it. But of course, there's times, especially with YouTube, where you don't feel inspired, you don't feel like making videos. You film the video, but you don't really feel like editing it. It's hard to put out a video for me once a week. I don't know how people do it twice a week with a regular job. You have to think about topics, you have to find time to film, editing. It's a lot of work, but I think when you just push through and do it, it's probably bad advice and not advice that you're looking for, but honestly, just doing it, just taking that first step and doing it. For example, this morning I woke up and thought, do I really need to film? But I realized I won't have next week to film, so I might as well take advantage of the time that I have in the morning to film. And yeah, it requires a little extra work, but at least you get it done and you feel good about it. I think also planning ahead, that way you don't fall behind, is really essential to making sure that you have everything in place. The next question is, how do you balance your professional and your personal life? And I think it's all about boundaries. For me, like I mentioned, I am not huge on my career, honestly. It's not the end all be all, it doesn't define me. I'm sure I'm a lawyer and sure I have a job, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna work 80 hours a week. For what purpose? I think setting those boundaries, especially if you start a new job, helping your boss understand, these are my hours. I'm gonna leave at 6 and I'm gonna go home to my family and eat dinner with them and hang out with them. And sure, if an email comes through at 8 o'clock, I'll answer it maybe. But there's more to life than work. I think people are afraid of what will happen to them if they don't work super hard. Maybe the competition is really tough at their job. Honestly, maybe leave. There are so many companies out there that understand work-life balance and making sure that you have your own life outside of work. Maybe get in earlier so you can leave earlier. And honestly, planning. Planning is a huge part of that. Making sure that anytime you have off on weekends, you spend time not only resting and getting things done, but meeting up with people. That way you feel like you have a good balance. Finding a job that you don't dread on Sunday night or Monday morning. That way you don't feel like you're just grinding it out and looking forward to the weekends only. Then you enjoy your whole week. So this next question is about startup culture toxicity, how to handle it, and my thoughts on career growth overall. So I feel like I've touched on this in a few of my other answers, but I think don't let it get to you. For startup culture toxicity, it really depends on what company you work for. I know a friend that works for a company that is really competitive, and if that's not what you thrive in, if that's what stresses you out, don't work there. Why would you want to go to a place that stresses you out, that constantly causes you to watch behind your back to see if someone's going to stab you in the back, or constantly being in competition with your coworkers? Wouldn't you rather work for a more collaborative environment or something where you feel a little more relaxed in? I mean, I understand not everyone has the ability to find different jobs, but I think if you have the skills, you can be picky and you can find something that really meshes with your philosophy and how you want to live your life. Leaving a job that's toxic, I think, is key, or even creating a non-toxic environment for yourself. Maybe your team is small and you have the ability to make sure everyone feels comfortable, everyone feels welcomed, and a collaborative feeling rather than competition. I understand that jobs are fierce and competition's fierce, especially at these bigger name companies here in Silicon Valley, but realize that there's more to life than your job. There's more to life than your career, and really setting that as your baseline, I think, will help. For career growth, I think finding a mentor, whether it be your boss or someone else at your company or someone else at a previous company, to help lead you and guide you. Really asking, what can I do better? How can I work more efficiently? What other projects can I take on? Not just being the clock in, clock out worker, because that's the kind of person that doesn't really excel or exceed their bosses or managers' expectations. If you see a problem, fix it. If you see an issue, do it. That will really show your boss or your manager that you're taking initiative, and I think that's what helps people upon their career growth. Also, just staying at a company long enough so that you can continue your career trajectory. If you feel like you're not growing somewhere and there's no room for you to grow, maybe moving on to a different company. So this question is about, can you explain the difference between high school, college, and law school? So for those of you that don't know, high school here in the United States is generally 4 years. Then after that, you graduate and you go to college or your undergraduate degree. That's also about 4 years. Of course, people could take longer or shorter depending on how many credits you have and how often you take classes, but generally it's 4 years, and that's your undergraduate degree. A lot of people study different things, and then after that, you go on to law school. Here in the United States, it is required that you complete your undergraduate degree before you go to law school. Of course, there are places where you could take the bar exam, which is really what you need to be a lawyer, and you don't have to go to law school. But it's just harder because you have to study on your own. You have to understand what it means to think like a lawyer, read cases, understand the law, and it's a lot harder if you didn't go to law school. So I would suggest, if you're going the traditional route, after undergrad, to either take some time off to work or go straight into law school. And law school is 3 years. After law school, you are then eligible and ready to take the bar exam, and after you pass the bar exam, you can be a lawyer. That is the difference between those institutions. Okay, this question is, what did you write about in your personal statement? I honestly had to dig back through multiple email accounts to find my old personal statement, but it depends on the prompt, and I assume that my prompt was something along the lines of, why do you want to be a lawyer, or why do you want to study, what kind of law you want to study? And so for me, I sort of came up with a story. I talked about the first time that I volunteered at a domestic violence restraining order clinic and why I really enjoyed helping that person to get a restraining order. And then after that, I talked about how I volunteered and how I really wanted to go into public interest law. And that is what I ended up doing. So I think if you have a personal story, and I talk about this in my video about how to apply for law school, so you can click up here to watch that, but essentially telling a story about where you got to where you are and why you want to study to be a lawyer, why you want to be a lawyer, and the steps that got you there. So obviously I wanted to be a public interest lawyer, and so my personal statement focused a lot about why that was, and the community that I grew up in, the people that I interacted with, and the experiences in college that I had that helped me to want to be a lawyer. So that also highlights your extracurriculars, but then also talks about the reasons why you want to be a lawyer and why that sets you apart from other people. The next question is, what were the struggles before you entered law school, both mentally and physically? Mentally, it's not having time for people, not having the same free time you probably had when you were in college or before law school, and realizing that you're not going to see your friends and family as much. You're going to be studying pretty much 24/7, at least during the weekdays. I think it's important to set those expectations with your friends and your family and yourself to understand that you're not going to have as much free time. I think mentally also the stress of studying like you've never studied before, being in a law school program with the top of all the other classes. You may have been smart in your college, but now you're with the top of the top in your law school and you're going to be competing against them. And because law school is generally graded on a bell curve, you're going to be placed somewhere on that bell curve, and you have to study harder than you probably ever studied in your life. I think also physically, you're probably going to get less sleep, you're going to be less healthy, you're going to have less time to eat healthy and work out, but scheduling those things in are really important. So I think when you're preparing yourself, you understand what you're getting yourself into and how you can fit in those other things like working out or hanging out with friends within your law school schedule. So my last question is, how many internships should you do in law school? Is 3 enough? I think it really depends on your situation, what you want to study. But I would say maybe at a minimum at least 2, 1 for each year. So your 1L year and your 2L year, because it really depends on your situation. For me, I had the same job starting the summer after my 1L year up until I graduated. So for there, it was a consistent internship that I took. But for you, it might be different. You might start off your summer for 1L year doing an internship that only lasts for the summer, and then you do something different during the school year, then you do something different during the summer, and then again during the school year. So it really depends. I think just understanding what your school is offering and what you want to learn. Maybe the internship you did during the summer, you don't actually want to do that kind of law, so you should do something else that will help you when you apply for jobs. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed that Q&A video. I didn't get to answer everyone's questions, but I will try to do one of these at least yearly to help update you guys on what's going on and to help make sure I'm answering questions that are burning in your minds. Thank you as usual for subscribing and giving me your time and support. It really means the world to me. As I mentioned, you guys are the ones that inspire me to continue making these videos, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any further questions, don't forget to comment below, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.